Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, ET Now's flagship series that celebrates the undying spirit of micro, small and medium enterprises. On the show today, President of the PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry and first-generation entrepreneur Mahesh Gupta shares product innovation and pricing strategies for small companies. On Bright Sparks, Peppertap, the online grocery store that's getting you all the supplies you need at just a click. And Tryshoera, a 3-decade-old shoe manufacturer that makes 2,000 pairs of shoes every day and is taking the Made in India tag to global markets. That's what we have in store for you today, so let's start right away with our Bright Sparks. Our first Bright Spark today is a company that's cashing in on urban India's newfound love for apps and the habit of getting everything delivered at the doorstep. Peppertap saw the opportunity over a year ago and took off as a hyper-local online grocery delivery company. Today, it's planning to expand its presence in over 75 Indian cities. ET Now's Punita Verma caught up with the founders of Peppertap.
In the times when apps and online services have become the lifeline of cosmopolitan population, Peppertap has entered just at the right time in the online retail space. Founded by Navneet Singh and Milind Sharma, the company has established itself as an online grocery market and has already gained a substantial share. Peppertap is counted as one of the leading vendors in the online grocery space. These days, there are so many ideas available that do a sure success. So if you had to take a plunge into entrepreneurship, why out of all the options available, you chose the online grocery business?
So look, this online grocery business that we've started is a hyper-local grocery delivery service. So there's this customer selling layer on top of a logistics network. We were already doing logistics and we wanted to do a natural extension of that. And adding a layer of customer-facing layer was basically which category do you choose? That was the question. And groceries, I mean, it's a big category. And second, it's a big sort of pain point for a lot of people like me who don't want to go to a grocery store and buy their stuff. So grocery was a natural sort of answer.
Well, you have such a heavy corporate background and you also have a degree from IIM Ahmedabad. Why, despite such a wonderful career behind you, you chose to become an entrepreneur rather than taking a high-flying, high-paying job?
So I think even before I did my MBA from IIM, I was fairly clear that I was going to do something of my own. That bug has already bitten me. And I was just thinking what to do and when to do. It wasn't an easy decision, to be honest. I was in Merchant Navy. Getting out of there was not very easy. So I did an MBA to understand how you run a business, what business really entails. But taking that final step of actually taking the plunge of starting a business actually took me 7 years. But it has always been there. It's not that I did an MBA and then I thought of doing a business. I thought of doing a business and that's why I did an MBA.
Peppertap has already raised capital worth $51 million and has even accomplished 100% growth in last few months. With a geographic presence in 15 cities so far, the company is looking at a consolidation phase at the moment. Well, the investors have invested quite generously in your firm. What did you do to gain their confidence and how did you manage to attract such a high amount of investments towards your firm?
Generally, the investors look for two things, right? A track record or capability of the team that you're investing in. And second, what is the market size that they're trying to attack, right? And market size in terms of groceries is huge. And given that we had a track record of sort of having built NuvoX, this was fairly easy for us to sort of raise the initial round of funding. And then, given that the team that we've sort of built, we were able to execute the plan accordingly. And as we scaled up, we were also able to attract the right kinds of investors at the right time.
With the online retail space almost exploding in volumes, it may be a challenge to hold the waters. But Peppertap is confident that the company is on a strong footing. What are your expansion plans and what kind of strategies are you looking at adopting for the next financial year?
Going forward, what we are looking to do is basically consolidate what we've built. So for the next, I think 3 to 4 months, we'll basically look at the business metrics, make the business much more efficient, very light. And then we'll take a call how much or at what pace do we want to expand. We've just acquired one hyperlocal grocery delivery service in Bangalore called GIF Store. Any other company that comes our way, if we think brings actually some value to the table, we'd be open to sort of taking them. So we are open to organic and inorganic growth both.
Amid the intense heat of competition, strong marketing has become the only way to stand apart. Peppertap says it's not lagging behind but is focusing on another mode of marketing altogether. Your competitors are spending heavily in marketing. Some of them are roping in big-time celebrities and others are investing heavily in online campaigns. What are you doing to beat this kind of competition and such kind of aggressive marketing?
So I think marketing, so it just depends on the way you see it. So like for example, our competitors are doing TVCs, they are roping in big brand ambassadors. I think the best way to do marketing is by word of mouth. It's cheaper and it actually goes viral pretty quickly. So we guys have rolled out a referral scheme in our application where customers can refer their friends and families and they get money for that. So what we feel is that the amount of dollar we spend for every, as in on marketing, we want to track the return for the same. And we guys always invest in channels which give us the best return.
Do you think big time players which are backed by technology as well are a threat to small time players in the retail space?
The smaller retailers don't get really threatened by someone like Peppertap because we guys are a marketplace and we actually enable these offline channels to reach out to more customers, which they are not able to do so through their offline channel. I think these retailers might get threatened by the offline, as in the online channels who have their own inventories, because I think the inventory-led players would be able to give out more discounts to the customers.
With the backing of some of the most renowned venture capitalists, Peppertap has launched itself on a solid runway. But how far and how fast does it take off depends on how effectively it can raise volumes of sale in the business based on low margins.
So that was Peppertap delivering your groceries at your doorstep. Our next bright spark today is a Noida-based company that has been manufacturing stylish footwear for over 3 decades now. Tryshoera churns out 2,000 pairs of shoes every day and exports these to some of the most developed markets in the world. ET Now's Libza Manan meets the man behind Tryshoera. The global footwear industry is expected to touch revenues of $220 billion by 2020, and brands from around the world are thriving to establish their presence on the global map. One such name is a 100% export-oriented footwear brand from Noida, Tryshoera. Over 3 decades ago, a mechanical engineer turned entrepreneur, Vijay established Tryshoera with an aim to make fashionable footwear the style statement of young men and women.
We put up our first full shoe line in 1992. And we started making men's shoes, which was like men's formal shoes, which we were exporting to CNA, Saver Center, Asda, and we were also making uppers for another company, T. Grucock and Company. And from there we met our Scandinavian agent, and we started tying up with her and exporting to Scandinavia. She wanted us to start into ladies, which we started slowly in 1996. We started ladies' shoes.
Tryshoera has 2 state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities in Noida, where high-quality shoes are manufactured using the latest technology. With the combination of dedicated hands and modern machinery, the brand produces nearly 2,000 pairs of shoes every day, exporting them to countries like UK, US, Scandinavia, Europe, Austria, South America and Poland.
Tryshoera basically uses the best raw materials. We have the best technicians and we use the latest technology, and this all covers like all this, the best that we use gives us the best product, and we have the competitive prices than our competitors.
Innovation is new developments, coming out with new developments, new colors, new designs, and we are not frightened to spend money on developments. It's like in other companies you would say research. For us it's developments of styles and fashion. So that's where we put in a lot of time and effort and money.
With a clear vision to provide customer satisfaction, Tryshoera is constantly on the lookout for bringing in new innovations and ensuring superior quality products are delivered to its global consumers. Driven by ambition and determination, The brand uses international inputs in various stages of design and development, and a dedication of 5 days is vested in the making of every pair of shoes.
We have regular designers from Europe who keep on feeding us the most modern designs. So we develop new lasts, new leathers, new colors, and it's an ongoing process.
Our company is ISO 9001-2008 certified company, and we comply to all the REACH standards which are in force internationally. Over and above, we get foreign technicians to visit us every year for at least 3 months to overlook our process, to check our process whether everything is going on fine, and any suggestions we take it to comply to that so that we are globally competent.
Today, Tryshoera has gained an edge over competition in the global markets by establishing its presence with some renowned international names like Topshop, Dune, Debenhams, Next, etc. A single-minded focus on providing the best quality has got this brand revenues worth over 65 crore rupees and the love of young fashion-conscious masses around the globe. Well, that was Tryshoera for fashion-conscious footwear lovers. Let's take a short break right here. On the other side, we'll be joined by President, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the CMD of Kentaro, Mahesh Gupta, who will share with us some lessons on innovation, branding and product pricing for small manufacturers. Stay with us on Leaders of Tomorrow, only on ET Now. Welcome back to Leaders of Tomorrow. On our Insight segment, we bring you views of policymakers, academicians and leaders of India Inc. on subjects that matter to the MSME sector. Today on Insight, we are joined by Mahesh Gupta, President, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry and CMD of Kent RO Systems. He's a first-generation entrepreneur who has built one of the most successful product companies in India in recent times. I caught up with him earlier to hear his insightful strategies on innovation, business growth, the Make in India initiative, and much more. Take a look. We're meeting, I think, after 3 years since you last won the Leaders of Tomorrow award. How has the growth of Kentaro been over the last 3 years?
First, thank you for inviting me and allowing me to share some of the thoughts. Coming to my company, Kent, we are doing very well. On year to year, we are growing about 20%, and it's a good journey for us.
You started building water purifiers when your children fell sick back in the 1990s, at a time when reverse osmosis as a technology was unheard of in India. So, from your experience, do you think it's a good idea to start a business when you experience a need gap yourself?
Absolutely. See, business is nothing but meeting requirement of customers. Well, you can begin with by saying that it's a need of the customers, but they are not demanding it as yet. Fair enough. But the finished product which you want to sell must be of interest to consumers, and it must generate demand if it doesn't exist. Only then you can have a sustainable business. Right. It's very important.
Right. And then you went on to create products like air purifiers, vegetable purifiers, products that have been unheard of in India. Would you say these ideas are ahead of their time? How are they doing in the market?
I think all these ideas are ahead of time, frankly speaking, because the way I operate is I believe that one has to have an innovation in a product. You have to add value to the product and value to your service. So, once I am trying to add value to the service, I try to find out what a customer should have, whether he wants it today or not. But once he should have that, that's the way I like to start my business. So, all these products which I am trying to introduce now, and I'm also are in my pocket to get introduced shortly, are all based on that concept.
Right. And how different are your challenges today as a medium-sized company? back in those days when you started out, the challenges of funding were there, of establishing a market presence, creating awareness about your company and your brand. Today, how different are those challenges for you?
Well, challenges are always there in businesses. Like you live in a small city, you have challenges of small cities. The moment from small city you move on to a bigger town, metropolitan town, you have challenges of those metropolitan towns. And the moment you move to, let's say, international cities like New York, you have different challenges. Similarly, I find the challenges to be different once you become a small scale industry to bigger industries. The expectations of people are different. You have to meet different challenges. You come into more competitive environment. The moment you become bigger, you have challenges of people duplicating your products.
Right.
So you need to fight those concepts. Then there are a lot of intellectual property issues which you need to deal with. So it's a different field altogether. Right. In businesses, it's not a smooth journey. It's a journey which is challenging and always a very fascinating journey.
From UV filters to going into a whole new technology like reverse osmosis at a time when no one else had really explored that bit in India, would you then say that it is essential for an entrepreneur to really always be a path breaker, or can you just ride onto the India consumption story with any product for that matter?
You see, you have to have a differentiator if you want to be ahead of the other people. If you want to be me too, then you have to compete on price or service. These are the only two things left. Or second thing is you compete on the product quality itself. Every entrepreneur has to find a USP on his offerings, and that USP could be anything. I choose to find USPs in terms of product quality, and to me that has worked very well.
And yours is a self-started enterprise, self-funded enterprise, and now your family is joining the business as well. Most of the MSMEs in India are still traditional family-run enterprises. At what point in time should an entrepreneur start thinking about professionalizing the business, getting external talent in to run the company, and expanding the bandwidth, so to speak?
See, it depends upon dream of an entrepreneur. Where does he want to play? If he wants to play in a bigger arena, when he wants to come out of MSME, he wants to become a large industries, it's the time that he should start thinking of professionalizing his enterprise. Because unless you professionalize, you can't expand. You have to give jobs to dedicated people, professionals, to take care of it. Suppose you have a sales department, you give it to an expert. You have a financial department, you give it to an expert. Similarly, you have manufacturing, you give it to an expert. Then you can think of how to expand. So whenever you are thinking of expansion, I think the key to expansion is professionalizing your business.
And as a manufacturer in India, over the years, how have you seen the policy landscape evolve? And today, do you feel the business environment for Indian manufacturers is much more conducive? And what do you have to say about the Make in India campaign of the Prime Minister?
Well, I think people who are coming into manufacturing today are very lucky. At least you have a government at this moment who is pushing manufacturing in India. They want to bring up manufacturing to 25% of GDP compared to 16% now. So it's going to be a big jump in manufacturing, and small scale industry is going to play a bigger role in Make in India concept rather than the big industries, because government is looking at employment, and employment is going to come from the manufacturing sector. So that's a very positive thing, and it's much easier to get funding today compared to, let's say, funding 10 years back. So people are flushed with funds, and you have an environment in which government is ready to help you. It's only lack of ideas that more and more people are not coming forward to. Unfortunately, there is also a challenge at this moment of time that the whole world is going through a big slowdown.
Yes.
And if the industry is under a slowdown, then it becomes very difficult for a new entrepreneur to come in and establish himself. So we have good points as well as bad points at this time.
And India has moved up a couple of places on the ease of doing business index in the last couple of years. So today, as an entrepreneur at the grassroots level, do you really feel a difference in the ease of doing business?
Well, at the ground level, I don't think much has changed. Although government policies have changed, some online registrations have started. But if you really look at it, suppose it is a new entrepreneur just passed off college and wants to start afresh with no support, I don't think it's a very easy job in India to come in. Because laws are still there, a large number of laws. They are a bit difficult to move around and do. Labor reforms are the most important aspects, not for the manufacturer itself, but even for the labor. I know laborers, there are a large number of laborers who are on contractual basis today. And this is the biggest problem in India. To my mind, the contractual labor laws should get out from this country. And labor laws should be eased out so that the entrepreneurs can exit. The contextual labor laws are made for people to get exit. And if you can make a uniform labor laws in an organization, the whole organization will perform better, A. B, then you can make them easy to exit. If you have no business, then there is no point even to have labor. See, today the technology is changing so fast, you can't guarantee a business for a long time. Maybe businesses were in the olden times good enough for 30 years, 40 years. Today you are not sure of a business even for 5 years. See, technology is going to outdate you. So we must have provisions that if technology is outdated you, or for certain reasons you have not been able to perform, you have a right to exit.
Absolutely. And let's talk a little bit about how important is the role of a brand ambassador for a small company. You went and got Hema Malini on board at a time when you were just at about 30-40 crores of turnover, annual sales turnover. So what made you take that decision and how did it impact your business?
Well, if it will all depend on what type of business you are. I was in a consumer business. So in a consumer business, the brand value plays a very important role. We don't expect millions of people to know a product. They come to know through a brand. And the brand is built by letting more and more people know. I always say to my people, you may have the best diamond in your hand. Now that diamond you would like to keep it in a locker, but your product you don't want to be in a locker. If it's the best product, you want to let it be known to everybody in this world that you have one of the best product. Now how to address that issue? Well, we have media, we have public relations, we have either you advertise in media or the media covers you very well. Well, media can cover you once, media may at best cover you twice. But today the people do not, unless people have a memory about your product, then they will not be able to purchase. To build that memory, you have to keep repeating that idea, what you want to say. And to people to hear that, a brand ambassador works very well. For my case, I can very well say that it has helped me. Our brand ambassador is with us for last 11 years. Hema Malini has worked very well for us because she portrays very well with the product. It's a water purifier, it's for the family. And she has a very good appeal with the Indian consumers.
And how important is the pricing of the product? In your case, was pricing ever a deterrent to your?
See, I would say pricing is the most important aspect of making business profitable, because you can't make money unless you have a certain margin in the product. But how do you make money? I always say you have to start having value in your product. What a consumer will have a value and your pricing both has to match. A consumer has to win over. If a consumer sees its value is 100 rupees, you can demand 90 rupees from him. So he takes 10 rupees. And in 90 rupees, my pricing has to be 50, 60 rupees so that I can have a 20 rupees in margin. But if you don't have that value, the whole thing collapses. Your value is only 70 rupees and you can't demand 80 and 90 rupees.
Correct.
So you have to build in a value to a consumer by offering him a better thing. I'll give you an example for this purpose. Suppose you want to have a shirt. Now, if there is an ordinary shirt available for 200 bucks, now there is another shirt which is a branded shirt is available for 1000 bucks. Now, a person who buys a 1000 shirt still feels so much satisfied. Oh no, I could have paid 2000 rupees for this, but the shirt has costed him only 200 rupees. But there is certain value, there is a brand, there is a certain feature built into that shirt that a consumer is feeling a value for that product and is ready to pay that price. So similarly, things hold good for any product which you wish to market.
A few words of advice to all the young entrepreneurs out there, how to face the challenges. What are those key points to keep in mind when you're starting out as a fresh entrepreneur? Because there are a lot of times when you feel like giving up. So, your success mantra.
Well, my success mantra is first is just again analyze the proposal which you are putting to your customers or the proposal you are putting up for as an entrepreneur is good enough. And if you believe that proposal is good enough, don't give it up and have a big dream and have belief in yourself. Then things will work out with time and you will be certainly successful.
Well, that's all we have on this edition of Leaders of Tomorrow. We'll continue to bring you discussions, solve your business queries and celebrate your spirit of entrepreneurship on this series. Feel free to get in touch with us with ideas, queries or feedback on our email ID leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com or reach us using social media. Just remember to put in the hashtag LOT or simply call us on the number flashing on your screen. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.